great win, for our guys. You always worry when you're coming off of a bye week, kind of, is the energy going to be there? Are you going to be a little bit lethargic? Are you going to be too amped up? Have we worn them out in practice? All coaches stuff that we all worry about. Players probably don't worry about it as much, but I thought our guys did a really nice job. We had 5 turnovers at halftime. Max obviously got us off to a great start offensively, and he just continued on throughout the game. I mean, he had a whale of a game all around, really clean. 7 assists, no turnovers. 5 of 6 from the line, 5 rebounds. Just a really impactful overall game. And he wasn't alone. Other key contributors, throughout, that did really well for our team. Jack, certainly made shots and made some big plays. Brandon gave us good minutes, in that first half. Joe really got going, after a slow start. I was proud of him to come out of that. Michael, I thought his first stint in there was very good. And then Luke and Firm was excellent in the first half. And Luke obviously, was amazing, in terms of his rim protection in the game. And I thought certainly a big key, to the game, that them not having Curry, for this game, obviously it was really impactful for their team. He handles the ball really well for them, gets their pace started, and takes pressure off everybody else. And he can score and he can drive. And so, again, you lose a guy like that impacts your team, and that's 2 games in a row they've had, one guy out at least. I think last game they had 2 out. And so it's definitely an impactful thing. But I thought all in all, our guys, did a really nice job.
The first half, Max was unbelievable. He was hitting everything on the sidelines. Do you expect him to hit everything? Were you surprised by his incredible start, 5 for 5 to start the game?
I mean, you're never surprised, because he works at his game. He can really shoot. We rebound for him, and we know what kind of shooter he is. And so we want to try to, get him cleaner looks, game in and game out. Some games are easier than others. And the ball found him, tonight, and especially early in the game, and he knocked him home.
I know that you preach all the time about, one game at a time. With the bye week, I'm sure, they were maybe on their phones more, and maybe saw, more talk about the bubble and this and that. Were you worried that this could be a letdown game with Saturday coming up?
No, because we talk about it. We talk about the situation and where they're at. We talk about, gratitude, and feeling blessed to be in the position that we're in right now. There are a lot of other teams that would love to be 21-5 or whatever we are, and have an A10 record like we have so far this season. But there's a lot of games to be played, and by this time, we will have played 3 games next Wednesday, and we're down. We played 1. We've got 2 more to go. These guys have been really good at focusing on what's right in front of them, and so we've got to stay with that, until the end of the season. And it's going to get tougher. We've talked a lot about how tough these games are going to be, and we can't have anxiety about pressure or anything like that. Pressure, it's because we're in a good position. And so now is the time to go for it and be there and step up. And certainly other teams in the league, the team that we're getting ready to play, feels the same way. And so, it's every game, regardless in our conference, it counts as one game. It's either a win or a loss. And so if we start focusing on 3 games from now, well, that's going to be that's not going to be a good thing, for us, because you get distracted. And you start thinking about the prize at the end. Well, you're not going to get it if you don't stay with it and do what you've been doing, all year long, in terms of your preparation, in terms of your work, in terms of your rest, all the things that are so important to a season.
How much does just having such an experienced group help with that? And not just experience, but they're all talented guards.
Yeah, there's no question about it. That was even though we have younger guys on the roster and on the team, that do play. Luke's out there a lot. Brandon gets in there. And then you saw Terrence out there in the first half get in and score a basket right away. Even though we do have some younger guys, the veterans, that was a very mature game overall, by our guys. By no means perfect. There's certainly defensively some things that we could do better. Offensively, our rim decisions in the first half weren't great, but they were at times, and that's why we got baskets. We just have to be more consistent, I think is the word that we're all looking for, and we're all aspiring to be, as a consistent team.
Coach Jack said before conference play, he had a talk with you about just kind of focusing on playing bigger, doing stuff like that.
Yeah.
But it feels like ever since that talk, he can't stop missing threes. So do you think almost saying, hey, focus on this, it sort of takes pressure off the three and helps him create?
Yeah, I just wanted to remind him of how he was helping us win. And so sometimes when you get solely focused on your offense, right, or what's happening, you're losing your confidence a little bit. You lose sight of what you're actually doing to help the team win. He defends, he rebounds, he passes, and so now all of a sudden when you add those two shot-making ability and taking the right ones, now all of a sudden you see him in transition shooting it a little bit quicker, and you hear Phil Russell going, "Shoot it, JC," and that's where he's at in his game right now, and that's really he's been impactful all year, and sometimes you have to remind guys of why they're helping the team win, and it doesn't always have to be scoring.
Is that kind of a unique situation for you as a coach? Because he's new to the team, but he's proven himself as a shooter in the ACC at a high level. He's got it in him.
Yeah, no question, and I think he's never been the guy on a team, and even on this team right now, he's an amazing piece, to our team, and an important piece to our team. Starter, plays a lot of minutes. I think he might be second in minutes maybe to Max probably. And so a key player, for us. And but when you have older guys that have played a lot of ball in their day, it's certainly helpful.
Other than, I think we're second in offensive efficiency in the A10. Other than just hitting shots, particularly threes, is there anything you think that the team is doing that in conference play that has just that offense clicking? Like, why is it working so much better in conference than out of conference? That makes sense.
Yeah, I think it's trending. I think it's because it's the natural progression, right? You're constantly working and refining your team, and your team's either going to get better or get worse. And so there are a lot of reasons that both can happen. And maybe we get jealous. Maybe we're taking bad shots, and then all of a sudden maybe our defense is becoming porous. All those things you have to do in practice and take care of in practice. The vitamins, you have to take stop taking your vitamins, and all of a sudden, you start to get susceptible to sickness. And we try to take our vitamins every day when we go to practice and do the things that we practice. And we want to see the things that we practice in the games. And so, this particular team is trending, in the right direction. We've got to continue to tighten up the defense, and the offense. Clearly, right now the offense is 1 in the A10. The defense is 2. And so both are really good. You aspire to be well balanced in both, and the defense is ahead of the offense overall, but the offense is now in the 50s overall in the country. So that's a good number.
And Coach, obviously the number 1 offense in the A10, Mason has the number 1 defense. How do you look at those two very high level sides of the ball? Like, how do those, like, when you have two high level opponents, how does that match up?
Yeah, usually what matches up is you end up in a rock fight. You end up in a really well balanced game, and who knows how it will go? I'm not sure, but we feel good about our defense too, and so that's got to show up, on Saturday.
What is it about being here at the Siegel Center this year? It seems like all of your numbers are substantially greater here as opposed to being on the road.
Yeah, I think this team's been pretty good on the road too. It's hard to win on the road, but we've won some tough games, and we had a lot of them early in the conference, and that's not easy. That's not to say that we have an easy stretch, to end the conference, but we do have 4 and 2 home versus away, and we got 1. Now we have 3. But it's naturally you're more comfortable here, at your home. Coming off of a bye week, we told our team the A10 3 and 10. Right, the teams coming out of the bye week were 3 and 10. Now it's 4-10. So really proud, most importantly, of what the guys did coming out of the bye week.
And real quick, you mentioned about being your road games at conference were more front loaded. You feel you're more battle tested coming down the stretch because you had those battles away from home and.
We still have some tough road games. At Richmond, we know it's not going to be easy. At Duquesne, who's beaten us, beat us twice last year, will be a tough game. And so, certainly you want to have more home games. I mean, that's an obvious thing. We want to be in front of our fans and allowing them to cheer us on and help us win. That's a fun thing. Sleep in your own bed, and prep in the BDC. That's a pretty good deal. So, I think the guys are understanding of where they're at right now, but they're not going to get too far ahead.
How do you kind of prepare for that difference of style playing a team like UMass? You guys shot almost 50% from three. They didn't make a three. How different is that? How do you guys kind of prepare for that?
Yeah, I think we got out on them and didn't allow as many threes. I think not having their point guard impacted that. And if he's out there, it's a little bit different because he's so fast and he can make plays. And so I thought our guys did a nice job, defensively, but. Obviously it could be a big separator, in a game like that, and certainly it proved to be that way because three's more than two. It is what it is. But you have to make them, and even if you're wide open, it's not easy to make them. It's just like a free throw, right? And fortunately today, our guys were able to find one another in positions to where they got some pretty clean looks.
Gotcha. Can you kind of touch on the development just of Luke and obviously you going out putting up 7 blocks today?
Yeah, he's just elite at it. He's really good. He's one of the best in the country, at timing that. And he's not like this huge guy. He's just really quick and has amazing timing. And he's got a motor. And there were times out there today where he got tired. And certainly the first segment of the second half, he got a little winded, there. But Luke just keeps getting better and better. And we're just going to have to stay with him. He's got more than he's shown probably offensively so far, and I'm excited for him, to continue to grow.
Anything else, Coach?
Every time we talk with Joe, he's just so laid back and kind of a jokester. Does that translate to practice? And do you ever have a hard time motivating him if he keeps?
No. He's always motivated. Joe likes to talk and is very he walked in. He and I were the only ones in the BDC upstairs. I think it was before the shoot around, and he walked in, and he always walks over and says hello to everyone, as do all of our guys. They walk in and they literally walk around the room and say hello to everybody in the room, which is rare. It's a thing. It started last year. The guys did it, and it's just a really impressive thing. You could easily just walk in and sit down at the table and get your food and do whatever, but these guys walk in and communicate, with one another. And so he walked in today, and I just happened to be in there, and he goes, "Hey, Coach, this may sound funny, but how are you doing?" And he said, "I figure, nobody really asked you how you're doing." And obviously, I said, "I'm doing great. I'm excited for tonight, excited for you guys to be able to play again." But I said, "Yeah, people do ask me. My wife, she asked me how I'm doing." And my boys, and there are others, that ask. But that was a really thoughtful thing, for him to say.